Hello, dear friends. How are you today? So today is February 3rd, 2021, and I'm here to do a quick tip video. There's two tips in here. The first one I'm going to do is a tray tip, and the other one I've been asked from a subscriber about how I basically cut or hang my diamond painting, so I'm going to go do that. I think I've done that already, but I'll do it again. Why not? I don't want to go through my videos and link it, and maybe I'll be more thorough this time. Okay, anyways, so I don't have like fancy trays or anything. My trays are the ones I get through kits. I just don't really need any fancy trays, but these are the two I use. I don't use any other ones besides this larger one, which I believe I have two of these, which I use, and I believe these probably came from Huracan kits. As far as I know, they're the only ones that send out this larger size tray, and I believe I had two kits from them, so or two paintings, so that's probably why I have two of these. And these white ones with the spout and everything, I have about 10 of these. Of course, I don't use them all at once, but I just have them, safekeeping. Everything else I just toss. I don't use any of the green ones, any of the smaller white ones. So these are the two kind of trays I use. So, this is my general one though. The other one I use less frequently, the smaller one, but this is the one I generally use. And so there's two things about the tray, at least my personal feelings about trays. And I don't know if I'm just strange, which I am, but I don't know if anybody else is like this. But so when I have the diamonds in here, so you obviously they have the grooves for the reason, so they're in there, and I use obviously in there to multi-place. That's how you have to pick them up. However, usually a lot of times in this top spot where it's flat, there are some stragglers, or there's some stragglers. So this is how I'm kind of weird. Like I use the regular part of the tray to pick the diamonds up multi-place, but I actually don't like single placing from here. I don't know why. It's just one of those weird things. I feel uncomfortable. Maybe because they're so lined up, I have to feel more precise about it. I don't know. I just really don't like it. So I tend to single place from the top over here. So if there's any stragglers that get left behind from when I'm shaking them out and they don't all come to the bottom, I'll take out from here. Or when I shake and get them all placed, kind of like this. See, they're all placed basically down there, and then, like I said, some stragglers up here. So if I just have a couple places or whatever to do, what I'll then do is I'll either, with my straightener, or sometimes with the end of here, I'll push these up here. So I have a well with diamonds in it, and this is where I take them to single place from. I'm just weird that way. I don't know why. So that's kind of how I use my tray. This tray, that's for sure, which is the one I use in the majority of the time. Again, I don't know if anybody else is like that. Maybe I'm, like I said, just like Lydia Dietz, strange and unusual. But that's me. So I actually wish, and I don't know, again, I don't look through trays. I don't, mess with that stuff. But if there is one that was maybe like a third, you could see the grooves here. If they were cut out just a smaller amount where this was more flat, all this was taken away, that would be like my favorite tray ever, because I'd have more room to actually use for a multi-place here, while I have still plenty of room with the grooves down here I keep saying multi-place. I would have more room up here to single place with a flat surface, and I'd still have plenty area over here to multi-place. Okay. Now, I know that was a long thing. That wasn't my tip. That was just me explaining how I use my tray and wondering if I'm the only weird one that does that. So, here's my tip. And I don't know if you can see it, but I forgot to take this out. So, when I'm diamond painting, so I have that. I don't use an easel. I use flat on the table, and I have my iPad and everything. So I either keep the tray down like this while I'm doing it, or I'll maybe just tilt it a little bit up, depending on, my feeling that time or whatever. So it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen where my hand in this area, it's the side of my palm up into my pinky finger right here on the side, I'm brushing a lot on the tray side, with my hand. It tends to be brushing a lot, and after a while it really actually starts bothering me and hurting me. Well, not hurting, but it gets very sensitive, and I actually can't do it then because the feeling is just, it's a gnawing feeling. I can't explain it. It just, again, the brushing all the time. So finally a couple weeks ago I decided, okay, what can I do to stop this? And so what I did was I took I'm sure you can use any cloth, but this Dreamer Designs, the kit bag, is so plush and smooth and lovely that I just cut one up and into like rectangular, square, whatever the size that's on here. Like you could see it right here on the side, and then over here, and then a little in the front, and on this side. I don't really need it over here, but I just did it anyways. Again, I was just experimenting. I didn't know what I was doing. So I cut the bag up into a strip, and then I took a glue gun, and I'm sure you could use any glue, but I have a glue gun, and I put the glue on the inside, and I put some of the bag material on here, turned it over, put glue on this side, and now I have a felt microfiber, whatever it is, cover. And actually next time, if I ever have to fix this or take it off and redo it, I only did one layer, but I'm actually probably going to do another layer because after a while it's going to wear out, and I could already see a little bit wearing, but it's going to wear out from touching all the time. So that, and the smoothness and the nice feeling of this really takes away a lot of the scraping of my finger and my palm, again, in this area. Again, I don't know if anybody else gets that, but it drives me crazy, and it really hurts after a while. Or, where I can't almost diamond paint because it's just, the feeling. So that's my kind of tip for a tray. If your hand rubs on it, try that. Try to put some fabric or cloth or something along the edges. If you use one of these trays, or if you do that, maybe you different than I'm just getting crazy. Okay, that was a really long explanation. I'm sorry. I don't tend to make these long, especially something like this. So let me take out my diamond painting I'm working on now, the Pink Beast. All right. So I was asked about cutting it and how I hang this. So let me tell you. This is what I personally do. You don't have to do this. Again, this is just how I personally do it. And again, and you could of course have any variation you want on it. So I have my painting. Now what I do is, before I do anything, I kit my thing up. I kit my painting up. See, we have it right here. The next thing I do when I'm ready to start, I take the scissors and I cut most of the border off. So you could see here was the color list, and I cut most of it off with the excess on the edges. I don't need any of that excess. To me, even though it's only a little bit, it's 3 centimeters maybe, to me it just is and it's helpful for it to be gone. Visually, probably maybe more than anything, but I just like being gone. So I cut most of it off, and I leave about this much, so you could see. I leave about 2-3 centimeters, about 2 centimeters really. So that's the first thing to do, all over around the whole thing. So toss that. So then when I'm diamond painting, excuse me a second. Now I go from left to right now. That's why you'll see on this side there is no more border at all. So what I do is I we'll do this section over here, let's say. So with something this size, I usually, will do it in halves. So, excuse me. So here we are. We can see the whole thing. See, this top half is undone. So what I'll do is, right from where this mark is cut, as you could see here. So I'll diamond paint in a smaller area going down this way. So I'll do, I find it easier than doing smaller sections going down across. I rather go smaller sections going down this way from the middle down. So when I finish down here and down here a little bit, that is when I will use the box cutter and I will cut it off along the edges. So, and I do that as I go along. Now, you don't have to do that. You could wait until you're done with the whole thing if you want to do that. Now, before I get to the box cutter, now you can, and some people do, use scissors. I used to use scissors. Again, that's fine if that's what you feel comfortable with. If that's what is better for you, do that. I mean, I find it more difficult, especially with a larger one, only because when you're cutting it like this, it's kind of, to me, more imprecise a lot of the times, and then you have a lot of sag with the painting, and so you're trying to cut it, and and so to me it's much more difficult using scissors, but you can still use scissors, and maybe you have to go back and trim a little bit off. That's just what it is. But if you don't want to use scissors, you can use box cutter, X-Acto knife, whatever. And again, you could wait till the whole thing is finished if you want to do that. I personally do it as I go along. So I get to show you how I do it as I'm going along now. Because I saved this precisely because someone asked me to show them. So that's why I saved this area. So again, just go right along the edge of the diamonds. And sometimes you will because especially this is a square. So they won't be, some of them will be a little bit wonky on the bottom, so I'll try to push them back up, or honestly, if I can't, sometimes I'll just cut too close and it'll snag some of the plastic off the diamond. It's not really a big deal. I don't care. Now, if you use this, of course, be very careful with your fingers and your hands. Don't cut yourself. If you need to, this table's an old table. I mean, it's still a nice table and all. It's a kitchen table, and if my mom was here, she'd kill me, but you really can't. I've been cutting in it. You really can't see it. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I think it gives it character, even if you could see it. But you could put a board or some cardboard or something under it so you don't cut through whatever surface you're working on, if you want to keep it safe, and you use a knife. So, again, just cut right across. See? And sometimes you will, like I just did, and I had to fix it. I'll get, if you get, because you're trying to get close, you'll snag the diamonds, and sometimes a couple will pop up. You just go slow, steady. See, I got a couple again. This isn't, the edges are always a little bit, with the diamonds, are always a little bit more precarious with them because it's right on the edge. It's not in the middle. It's anywhere else. So there's nothing else keeping them on that side. So there you have it. I cut at the end. I will show you do it again on this side. And so I will go up to a certain point. See, like I said, usually it's not as, I don't usually have this much diamond movement, but this one is proving that it's like that way. And so I am getting a little bit of, catching a little bit of the plastic, like I know you can't see it, but over here, so a little tiny bit of the diamond was cut, but you can't tell. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't hurt it, really. Okay, so this is where I'm going to stop. So right up here is where I've stopped. I'm not going to cut over here because I have not painted this yet, and I don't want to mess around with there. So I got right here, so I'm going to I could either take this and cut it here, but I like to be extra safe and use that as least little as possible. So I just cut with the scissor. So there we have it there. Now, the more important question I've always asked is the top part. Now, I'm not going to do this here because I haven't finished it yet, but I'll show you what I do. So, let's suppose it's done up here too, right? So, what I do is, and you could do this beforehand if you like, just so you don't forget, because I've forgotten once, and then it's not a big deal, but I have forgotten. So, on the top is where I hang them. Now, if you don't put your painting in a frame, what I do is I use push pins, if they're not framed, and I want them on the wall. I use push pins in part of the border on top to hang them up. Again, 99% of the border is cut off. So, what I will do is, I'm pretty good at this, doing it now, but if you want to do it before, you can do it. If it's a larger one, do 3 tabs. If it's a smaller one, you could just get away with 2, only because the weight of it, I don't want it to collapse or anything on you. So, take your scissor and just cut down to the border on the painting. Cut a tab, like cut and cut there. So there you can see this is the tab. This is going to stay on. This will stay on this side. This will stay on the other end, and because this is a larger one, I'm going to do one in the middle as well. So that'll stay on. So of course this side will come off, and this will come off, but this will stay on. Then you will, I don't know, I forgot to get one because I wanted to show you, I have some here, because I wanted to show you something else too. Then you take your push pin. Whoops. Here's my green push pin. So you'll just push it through the tab there. See? Again, you'll have one on each end, and if it's a larger one, you should do one in the middle. Again, this stuff will be gone, and you can hang it up this way, and it's perfectly fine. And so all you see is this. Now, of course, if you want, you can make the tab a little smaller, so you don't see the white part. That's basically it. It's really super simple. Now, what you can also do, which I think, let me fix this before I move this around. What you can also do, which is fine, I've done it before because I've made a mistake, like I said, with the tab, or when a tab is broken, because when I was first doing it, I just did a large one on both ends, and I didn't realize that you should have done one in the middle, so it was too heavy, and I made the tab too small, and it tore. So, but generally that's not going to happen. That was my mistake. So what I had to do was I had to then, okay, how am I going to do this? You can, listen, unless you have a square diamond painting that is so tight that any kind of movement or anything will just pop the diamonds off, and even if that happens, who cares? It's one diamond. You can also just hang it up straight by the diamond painting. It's not, believe me, it's not a big deal. You can just push it through here. Just find on the bottom, on the corner, since this is the bottom, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Find somewhere on the bottom you want, and then, again, carefully, since you don't want to stab yourself, just push it through there. See? Now it's pushed completely through. You still have plenty of room with the push pin to go into the wall, even with it sitting on top of the diamonds. And as you can see, it didn't displace any diamonds. They're perfectly fine. See there? And I'll actually take this out to prove it. See? They're all fine. You'd never know unless you look at the back, where you can see the tiny pinhole, but you never know the front. If you ever decide to do it some other way, give it away, use a frame, that you actually put a hole down there in this corner. So that's kind of my tip for hanging them up. Again, it's super easy. You don't have to frame everything. If you like, listen, you can you just rotate them. By doing this, you could just rotate them. You could always cut the tabs off, or if you frame them, you could just bend the tabs down or paste them down. I wouldn't cut them off. Personally, I don't know if I would cut them off unless I knew it was going to stay in the frame forever, because if you decide to change it out and everything, you can then just pop them back up and hang them up that way. But anyway, it's your choice. So I think that's it. I think I tried to explain that the best I could. But again, it's super simple. You know, just cut a couple tabs on top. All right? Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this went so long. I really didn't mean it. I thought I'd be able to do this in like 10 minutes. But, you know, Chris is a rambler. And I repeat myself. So, sorry about that. I hope you found this helpful. And, I'll have another video later on today. Stay tuned for that. It's an unboxing. I'm super excited about it. All right. So till then, be safe and be happy. Bye, guys.